One of the most notorious crime lords in history was Pablo Escobar. He was ruthless, he was infamous, and he was wealthy. Estimates put his net worth while heading the Medellin Cartel at $25 billion. And when you have that kind of cash, you can afford to buy any car you want. Escobar's collection of vehicles might surprise you. He had cars by Porsche, Mercedes, Cadillac, but he also had a few more common cars and a few motorcycles by Harley Davidson and Lambretta. We're showing off all these and more as we take a look at the car collection of Pablo Escobar, one of the richest men on the planet during his prime, who also doubled as public enemy number 1 in 1990. Pablo Escobar was at the top of his game when he headed the Medellin Cartel from 1976 to 1993. During this time, it was reported that he was pulling in $420 million per week in revenue from the cartel's activities. What did he spend that money on? Lavish estates, incredible parties, and of course, the subject of today's video, cars. Over $5,350,000 worth of cars when going by today's prices. To kick off our list, we want to show you one of the most pricey Porsches Escobar ever owned. And it's this 1974 Porsche 911 RSR. Escobar was an avid race car fan and was known to speed down the streets of Medellin in the 911 RSR. The car was built for a racing championship in 1974 and was driven by professional racer Emerson Fittipaldi before eventually finding its way into the hands of Mr. Escobar, and he loved it for its sheer performance. The car recently was sold for a colossal $2.2 million by the Atlantis Motor Group. It was completely restored to its original state, and now it comes with a plaque to confirm its authenticity. The next car we want to show off isn't necessarily one of the most expensive or rare cars on our list, but it's a favorite of car collectors worldwide, and that included Pablo Escobar. It's the 1978 Renault 4, a light and easy to maneuver vehicle. Believe it or not, it at one time was the best-selling car in Colombia. Escobar's version of the car was actually the updated model from the original, which was produced from 1967 to 1974. The cost today? A very reasonable $6,000. Hey, not every single car in a collection needs to be $1 million. Sometimes you just want the most reliable car on the market. Hey, speaking of reliability, here's Escobar's 1978 Toyota Land Cruiser. Again, here's another vehicle that the cartel leader owned not for luxury, but for its practicality. If you know anything about Pablo Escobar, then you know that having a Land Cruiser fitted with a 3.6-liter engine would be absolutely instrumental in his success. This Toyota can be seen constantly in the Netflix show Narcos, which reenacts Escobar's time in the cartel, cause that's how much Escobar was using it. The 78 Land Cruiser goes for quite a bit of cash today, mainly due to its retro look and now legendary status. You can pick one up for $81,000 if you're interested. We know one thing for sure, it'll be one of the most reliable compact SUVs you'll ever own. Let's mix things up a bit. Enough about practicality. What about luxury? Escobar certainly had a taste for the finer things in life, and this 1972 Mercedes S600 Pullman is the perfect example of that. To this day, the car keeps its status as one of the finest vehicles you can drive, and has been chosen by gearheads like Jay Leno and Jeremy Clarkson, just to name a few. A direct competitor to the likes of Rolls-Royce and Bentley, the Pullman meant the world to Escobar. In fact, it's reported that after the car was totaled in a crash, he kept the wreckage to show it off. Now, that's a luxurious car. Picking one up today is going to cost you. It's been listed for an incredible $495,000. Start saving. Another car that Escobar owned for its larger-than-life status was this 1928 Cadillac V8 Town Sedan. Rumor has it that Escobar fashioned this car to look like the car owned by one of his heroes, Al Capone, even going so far as to recreate bullet holes on the sides of the vehicle. Now, whether or not this is true, well, we guess we'll never know, but it sure is fascinating to think that Escobar would model his town sedan to look that similar to Capone's. These cars are absolutely still collectibles to this day, and the proof is in the price. At an RM's St. John's sale, the 1928 Cadillac V8 Al Capone town sedan went for $341,000. Hey, when we said this was a luxury vehicle, we weren't kidding around. Up next is a vintage car known as the 1946 Desoto. Where does the name Desoto come from? Well, that would be none other than Spanish explorer Hernando de Soto, leader of one of the first North American explorations. In true Escobar car style, this one may not look like all that much from the outside, but one look under the hood and you'll see it has it where it counts. The 46 Desoto packs quite a punch with its V6 engine, and 6 years later this model of car started carrying a V8, continuing its reputation of power. Still collected and sought after by modern car collectors, mainly due to its incredible design and distinct look, which, by the way, turned heads all the way back in 1948 as well. This car goes for around $28,500 in today's market. You probably could have guessed that Escobar had to have had at least one Mercedes in his collection. And you'd be absolutely right. This is his Mercedes 190 SL Roadster. It was fast, it was luxurious, it screamed style. It was the perfect choice for the head of the Medellin Cartel. But the standout fact about this car is that it's incredibly rare. Only 26,000 were ever produced during its limited production run, which was between 1955 and 1963. Now, the price of one of these beauties really varies based on the condition of the vehicle, the state, and much more. But we can say that if you wanted one today, you'd be looking at a minimum $100,000 car. But if you got one, you'd have a piece of history. Want to see Escobar's other Mercedes? Well, here it is, the Mercedes 300 SL. You thought the last Mercedes was rare at only 26,000 ever produced? What if we told you that this 300 SL only ever had 1,400 units ever built? Escobar wanted the best, and he wanted heads to turn when he drove this baby out on the Medellin streets. And turn, they certainly did. Now we get to the really impressive stats. The price. When your coupe is this special and is this rare and has such an iconic look, you know it's gonna be quite a few dollars to get one. Prices range from a massive $500,000 to $2 million for the 300 SL. It's truly one of the most coveted cars by collectors on the planet. Rounding out our list, here's the 1978 Simca 1000 that Escobar owned. As you can see, he had a love for European cars, but this one held a special place in Escobar's heart because it was partially built in Colombia. That homegrown charm led it to being one of Escobar's favorites, even if it wasn't necessarily one of his most rare or even expensive vehicles. Today the car goes for $35,226. Very reasonable price tag, we'd say. After all, this car was once so popular in Colombia that it was the car of choice for taxi drivers in the late 70s as well. Hey, before we go, Escobar owned a few motorcycles as well. He loved his Honda CR 125 motorcycle, a $3,325 bike, his Lambretta motorcycle, which had a special edition model that goes for $4,990, and his 1990 Harley Davidson, a classic that goes for $5,064. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in today. We hope you enjoyed today's video all about the car collection of Pablo Escobar. If you haven't already, hit subscribe so you can be notified the next time one of our videos goes up. We'll see you next time, right here on The Richest.